Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the Planet checking account. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. There's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement, and there's no minimum balance required. The 1% for the Planet checking account, only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
The Bachelorette
and Friends.
From first love to happy ever after.
What's that?
From dating to dick pics.
Oh my. Oh no!
The Bachelorette and Friends. Oh, I love a good dick.
This podcast contains sexual references, coarse language, and adult themes from the beginning and throughout. It is not recommended for listeners under the age of 15.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Bachelorette and Friends. I'm your host, Carla Anita Matiazzo, and today's guest is from Farmer Wants a Wife, Season 10, Karissa Godfrey. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, how are you going? It's so good to be here.
Thank you for coming on. So tell us a little bit, before we get into the first crushes to happy ever after and everything in between, let's talk a little bit about Farmer Wants a Wife. So what drew you to that show?
Oh, my goodness. So you see Married at First Sight and all those reality dating shows, like... Let's be real, I would never have tried for Love Island because I'm not the type that they were looking for that show. But you see all the reality TV shows and stuff like that. And I was sitting on the couch last year and I was flicking through my social media and I saw an audition, a thingy, an application form to go for Farmer Wants a Wife. And I'm like, as a joke, I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. So I filled it all out, and then probably 2 days or so later, they emailed me back saying, we'd love to meet you. Can you come to the city for an audition? And you know how you get those emails and you're like, that's like a scam, I think. So I read it and I showed my mum and she's like, oh, my God, like may as well just go for a try. And I did. I think it was a couple of weeks after I got the email, I went to the city and I walked into the office and there was just a swarm of just beautiful, gorgeous girls there. And I walk in country girl and I'm just like, I wanted to walk out. Like I walked in and I'm like, I have got no chance in hell. Seriously. Like,
Karissa.
Seriously. I walked in, I'm like, oh, this will be fun. So I just thought, we'll just go with it. And we did group exercises and stuff like that. And they took us up and it's very cutthroat and they only take a few people through. And then I didn't hear from them for about a couple of months after that. And I thought, oh, of course. And then the start of January, I was coming home from work and I got a phone call. It was one of the producers from Farmer and they just said, Farmer Neil would like to meet you. So it was pretty much a week's notice.
Oh, Jesus.
I had two small kids and they're like, yeah, we've, booked your flights. Can you come to Sydney for Farmer Wants a Wife? And I'm like, just let me process it. I've got to organise two little children for, because you could either stay for a night or 4 weeks. So I'm like, they said you need to pack for 4 weeks, but it could be, any time. So
you were on for because I watched it on and off. So were you on for the whole thing?
Yeah, I was there for the whole 4 weeks and it was the longest 4 weeks ever that I've ever been away from my babies. Yeah. So that was super hard for me, but thank God for FaceTime and and technology.
Yeah, wow. So what was it? What was the conclusion of the show? I don't remember the conclusion for all the farmers. I don't know who happened with what. I can't remember.
Yeah, so I'll tell you all of them. So Neil chose Justine, Harry chose Stace. Sam had to go in the middle of the show because his grandfather died. Alex chose Jess, and Nick chose Liz.
Okay. So are any of them still together?
That's a negative. No. I know, because it was a while before the show aired, because we finished filming in February, and the show aired in end of July. So we all had to keep this secret for, quite a few months. And basically everyone was not together by the time the show aired. So it was pretty awkward watching the show, knowing, well, us guys knowing that no one was together.
So, because usually with Farmer Wants a Wife, there's at least one or two couples out of the group that stay together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why I cringed every time, like, Nat was like, real love is back, and here we all are going, oh, not really. No, yeah, but it has had a good track record. That's exactly why I put myself out there for this show. At the end of the day, I don't regret it. I had so much fun. I did so many things that I would never ever do if I hadn't gone.
Like
well,
what? Give us one.
I met Lee Kernaghan. It was awesome, and we also got a private plane back from Thames to Goulburn, and it was just, it was sort of like a little bubble while we were filming. You felt like, oh, this is exciting and this is awesome. So it was, and just meeting the girls, meeting some girls that I've formed lifelong friendships with. Like, that's what I've taken out of the show.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of The Catchalorette and Friends. Make sure you follow the podcast at The Catchalorette Pod on Instagram. And if you think your love journey is worth sharing with me on the podcast, send me an email, thecatchalorettepod@gmail.com, or slide into my Instagram DMs. Oh, and don't forget to give the podcast a review and tell all your motherfucking people to listen to the show. Now let's get back to this episode. So you said to me last week that you've got some goss. What's the goss? What's the goss?
Oh my God. So, was it? No, this weekend's just gone. The last weekend I went out with Hayley from the show. She was on Farmer, and we went out in Bathurst, and this guy was sort of, checking me out, and he eventually came over and started talking to me, and we basically spent the whole night together, like, at the pub and stuff, and he was really in. And then at the end of the night, he sort of looked at, like, we were talking and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, so I don't know how the conversation came up, and I don't know what happened, and he's like, oh, do you know who I am, or do you, like, I'll show you, or something like this. He was from Sophie Monk's The Bachelorette. He was one of the guys on Sophie Monk.
Oh, really?
So I just said, oh my God, that's hilarious. And then I think we sort of did like a swap, and I said, oh, I was on Farmer Wants a Wife. He's like, were you really? And I said, yeah. And I'm like, I just thought it was crazy because we were both on reality TV. And we sort of just gravitated.
Has anything happened from that?
I got later and he was trying to talk to me, and I'm very, very picky when it comes to me and Carla. Like, I am, and all my friends will vouch for that. And you have to be pretty amazing to get my attention, to keep my attention.
Yep.
It's just, I think too that I've been hurt so much that I've got this constant wall up, and it's taken me so long to heal and to get to a place where I can actually function and be okay, that I don't ever, and I know it's probably bad to live like this, but for the moment I don't ever want to feel vulnerable again for someone to stomp on my heart. Like I just remember
it's a self-preservation thing, Karissa, I think.
Oh my God, it really is. Like, so I don't mean to, but I do think I push everyone away.
My last serious relationship was 5 years ago. There's definitely a wall that someone will have to break through to get to me, because it's just, there's too much life experience has taught me that putting your heart out there too quickly is just...
I know. And that's the thing. Like, it's too raw, and I think it's too, because I just like, and you yourself, you probably just think back to those days where like it hurt to breathe, like it hurt to, like, but no one, like when you go downtown, no one knows what you're going through, like it just feels like you're the only one, you're screaming inside, but no one knows. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Something that I think I've noticed in you too is that you're quite strong. You like people to see you as quite a strong, resilient person, and I'm the same. The last thing I would ever want to do is let anybody know that I'm not coping. Like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that's exactly, I like portraying this strong, woman with my girls and this and that. But I think inside, as strong women, we are probably the ones that want love the most. But as a mother too, like you can't crawl up into a ball and be like, well, I don't want to do life today. I've got two little people relying on me. Do you know what I mean? So I have to get up, and I have to, and looking back now too, when I was going through the breakdown of my marriage, in a massive way, my girls saved me too, because they gave me reason to get up, to get dressed, to still carry on with life and oh my God, I tell you right now, when you go through a breakup or anything like that, and you're a mother as well, and trying to be a mother while your heart is breaking is one of the hardest. It gets me uptight now thinking about it. Yeah, it's hard, very hard.
So then, speaking of breakups, what would you say you've now learnt to help you and to help others who are listening get through a breakup? What would you say are good things to do
during those first few months? And I threw myself into the gym, I felt like even going for an hour a day to the gym, lifting weights, doing cardio exercise is so not even talked about with how you cope as a person. Like, just get out, move your body. It makes you feel 10 times better. So the gym saved me too at the start. So I just threw myself into myself basically, and I just concentrated on that and my girls, and just trying, and at the start, it's like I just concentrated really on putting one foot in front of the other. That's all I could do at the start. I couldn't do anything else really than just, my girls and putting one foot in front of the other. Like, and don't be so hard on yourself at the start, or because it's not like you can't just jump back into being normal again. Like, it's just, it takes time, and still, like, it's even in February it'll be 2 years since I split from my ex, and it's like, and probably you with yourself, even like some days something will trigger something and you'll think back to, and then you'll get upset, but then like, and you know, my really good guy friend in Tamworth, like I remember calling him the other day because, and this was probably like 3 weeks ago, because I was on the floor crying, you know, because it was just, you know, because you have that vision in your head of your family and your marriage, and I just called him crying, and he was just so good and helped me through it. But also remembering that tomorrow's another day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you might feel horrible today, but I can guarantee you the next day after my cry, I didn't feel as horrible as what I did. So I want to say to people to keep going, because even if you have a bad day, because tomorrow, you know, it's always tomorrow.
From what you've said, I've gathered having people around you that you can contact is a good thing, and allowing yourself to sit in the emotion and release it is also really helpful too.
Yes, 100%. Growing up, I've always tried to bottle my emotions to act strong and to, you know, brush it off and keep going. That's not good. Like, you have to feel the waves of the emotion. I've learned to let it out, cry if you're really upset, and scream, kick, shout. But then I want to say to people who are in like desperate times that wave that you're feeling so low and that you can't carry on, it will pass. Like, it will eventually subside, and then something else will come along, you know, like you're not going to be in that sad place forever. Because when you are in that sad place, you do think, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of that. I'm never going to, it's consuming me. But I do want to say to feel it, to experience it, because I'm telling you, like, a few hours later, I was laughing. So, you know. Like,
it all passes.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
It all passes. Guess what, lovers? The Catchalorette, There's Always a Catch, is back on stage in 2021. First up, The Mill, Adelaide Fringe Festival, from the 18th to the 28th of February, 7:30.
Tickets on sale at the Adelaide Fringe website.
Can you remember when your first crush was, and what happened around that?
Oh my. Yes, let's rewind. So I had my first crush and serious boyfriend, I think, at the end or at the start of year 10, so coming into year 11. I did. So I remember, and I was with this boy for, I think, 3 years or so. And yeah, he was my first love, my first boyfriend, my first everything. My parents absolutely despised him.
Why didn't I like him?
Oh my God, he wasn't a nice guy. He wasn't at all. He did some naughty things, and they just, you know, as a mum, you don't want that for your daughter. It's my life story. So when I was 18, I was with this boy, and I fell pregnant at 18. And I remember coming to my mum and telling her, and as a mum, she was disappointed, but she said, I will support you no matter what you want to do. And I am so pleased, and that's why I don't judge anyone. I had an abortion.
Yep.
I didn't, at 18, I was still a baby. I didn't, you know, I just finished school.
Correct.
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
And that would have been a hard decision, Karissa. That I don't imagine you would have taken that lightly.
Not at all. And what really made it okay for me, and to be at peace with it too, and to think that I made the right decision, is he didn't even call me. He didn't even pay a cent. He didn't even come down to the place where I got it done. He didn't even recognize or see how I was when even after I woke up. I was just like, has he called? And Mum's like, no. And my mum was there.
Wow.
And yeah, so
That's really disappointing. Really disappointing.
I know. So I don't regret my choice, as hard as it was. Yeah, I imagine my life would be pretty different right now if I chose to.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's going to give a lot of people who have been through that, you know, some relief, I think, hearing somebody in the public eye say that that's okay. Everyone's lives are different. Everyone's circumstances are different. You're so right. You can never judge when people make those kind of decisions. You don't know what the circumstances are around those types of things. I think people are too quick to judge, especially
they really are
when it comes to abortion, and I guess people's worldview and maybe religion and upbringing play a massive part in that as well. But at the end of the day, you've got to do what's right for you. And I think,
well, that's exactly right. And I remember, I remember I was just, 18-year-old girl just being so scared, and it was a life, defining moment for me. That's for sure. It made me, realize, pretty quick to, be careful and to, do the right thing and stuff. But I don't, like I said, I don't regret it. But it was a big moment in my life for sure.
From what I'm hearing you say, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys didn't stay together after that.
Oh God, no. That was the end for it. That was the end for me. He tried to, call me and stuff like that. And I've said it, like, I was just so disappointed. I think I said, you're just like, I went down 18 years, like, 18-year-old girl going down to get something that I'd never even, like, it was just so daunting, like, and you just don't even call, you don't even, like, nothing. I'm like, nah, that's it. I'm done. Like, no way. Like, who does that?
Yeah, no, that's not the right way to go about things at all in that situation.
No, it's not.
So from there, I would imagine it took you a while before getting into something else. Yeah.
Yes, it did. It took me, I think, a couple of years, and I worked at an insurance place in Tamworth for a couple of years after that, and then I went to uni when I was, I think, 21, 22, and I did primary school teaching, and then I met my ex-husband, and you know how life goes. You get married, and I had Lily, and then I got married and had Bella, and then we were together for 10 years.
Oh wow!
And so that's why it still hurts quite a bit. Like, so 10 years is a good chance.
So what was it about your husband that won you over?
Oh, God, I remember. Let's go back to the night that we met.
Okay.
We were at the Ox. It's the place to go in Bathurst when you're young.
Right.
But it was a Thursday night, so it wasn't a weekend, and he'd just finished footy training, and I was with my guy that was a friend, and we went to the movies, and then he said, "Oh, let's go over and have a drink," and I was like, "I don't really want to," and he's like, "Come on," and I'm like, "Righto, one drink." And my husband waltzes in his training gear and stuff like that, and honestly, no word of a lie, he saw me and he stared straight at me. And seriously, and I even said to my friend Nick, I said, "Look at this absolute freak over here." and Nick looked, and he's like, "Oh my God," like, he's still looking at you. And I said, "I know, he's freaking me out." And then he started to walk backwards, and he kept looking at me. And I'm just like, whatever. And I remember walking down the stairs of the Ox and he was walking up, and I remember in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, that's that freak. I was walking down the stairs and he was walking up and he's like, hey, can I buy you a drink? And I said, oh, because he sort of sounded normal when he said that. I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And so we went to the bar and he bought me a drink, and I didn't go home with him that night. He had to work. He had to woo me. And and I guess after a while, the rest is history. And yeah, God, there's so many stories there. That's for sure, about how, you know, our dating and then finding out we were pregnant with Lily and getting married, and yeah, crazy ride.
Oh, wow. I feel like those things don't happen anymore, where guys like take that plunge in public and go and introduce themselves and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that doesn't happen anymore because of online dating.
Oh, and that's when I was talking to one of my friends, Chantel. She was on the show too, and I was talking to her about that too. And it's just, it's like instant gratification these days. Like you're on your phone, you can message absolutely anyone.
Yeah.
Like guys don't take, and women, guys don't take to, like, they don't get to know someone. They don't really want to get to that process of developing a foundation to then grow from it. They just want, come around, Netflix and chill, and then you know, what have you got then?
Yeah
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. No.
So it's very different these days, and that's why I think that so many people still are single, because they're always, it's never staying with one person. It's always on to the next.
And because people are so disposable on those mediums, I've worked out that it's just not a comfortable place for me to be at all. So it's just like every time, I was actually speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and he's like, I'll be your wingman, and he's married with kids and stuff like that, which is, look, really sweet that he offered. And then he's like, you should just go on online dating. I'm like, dude, you have been married and with your wife for years, even before like online dating was around.
I was like that.
Don't suggest that, because it's not the way to go.
Oh, I feel you, because I remember I was with my husband for 10 years, and then when we separated, I then had to plunge into the dating, the online dating. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it so much, because you can't authentically develop a connection with someone with a, hey, how's your day going? When you don't even, you see photos, but someone looks completely different in real life than what they do in their photos. So we're probably swiping left on someone that in real life, we'd be like, oh my God, like, you're amazing.
Yep.
But because I've seen it, like I've seen like guys that have these photos, and in real life you're like, oh my God, you don't look the same. So you can't, but then it fizzles out because you don't meet, and then you know you can't. But it's the same with, like, it's just, I think I've put that in the too hard basket now. Like honestly, like I'm so done with men and constantly on to the next. Everyone's disposable. Like you said, everyone's disposable.
And I'm not about it. I think that's why, look, there's a myriad of reasons why I've stayed single for so long. But the next relationship that I get into, whenever that is, I highly doubt it'll be through an online medium. One, because I'm not on them and I don't want to be on them. Yeah, it's just it's a very different game. I need to be engaged with all my senses when meeting somebody, especially somebody that potentially has romantic, intentions. I can't, it doesn't do anything for me looking at a picture. Doesn't do anything.
I'm the same because you don't know in that picture if they can hold a conversation, if they carry themselves. Like I'm about absolutely the whole person. So not just, you know what I mean? Like, and as I get older too, personality far outweighs looks to me any damn day of the week. So you could be Brad Pitt with the personality of a wet rag, and you're automatically ugly to me. Like,
yes. Yeah. I've definitely, over my years, I've definitely met like aesthetically beautiful men who do not have personalities to match, and straight, like exactly what you said, straight away I'm like, well, there's no physical attraction here.
That's exactly right.
Yep. Sorry.
I'm exactly the same.
And I feel like there is still in Australian culture, and I'm just speaking from my experience, that strong women, most males that I've encountered, I'm being very careful here, I'm not trying to generalize, cannot handle strong women. It still seems to be in our culture that it's a bit of a threat, and a woman that analyzes, asks questions, is strong about communication, all that kind of stuff is too much. It's too much.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I was talking to my friend about that the other day too. It sort of makes them level up. Like they want to be down here and, you know, have a woman that says, yes, please, no, thank you. Like, but when they actually get a strong, confident woman, they don't know what to do. So I was actually talking to my friend about that the other day. So yes, for sure.
And there's still very much dudes out there that'll say to you, oh, you just need a good dicking. You just need somebody to fuck you. And I'm just like, sorry. Oh, you need to think about it from a male's perspective. Men just want to have sex, so you just need it. But I'm not a dude, so I'm not going to think about it like a male. And my boundaries are okay and healthy. I'm not.
Yes.
I don't need a dicking to make me acceptable for the rest of society.
That's exactly right. I get told I'm up myself quite a bit because I don't let people into my life. So therefore, I'm up myself.
Yeah. It's called boundaries and standards, Karissa.
Yeah, exactly. But if I was out there, you know, doing absolutely every other guy, I'd be called a slut. So you can't win.
You can't win. You can't win. And the shitty thing about that is I applied for a dating show the other day and one of the questions was, how many people have you slept with? And I was like, hang on, that's a really patriarchal question. It does not matter. And that is very much stemming from way back in the day when women, and again, this is me processing information that I've collected over the years. So if people listening think I'm wrong, just get in touch and let me know. So back in the day, women were property and men, you know, essentially owned women, all that kind of stuff. And women had to be virgins before they got married. So to me, when I see a question in 2020 on an application for a reality TV show asking you how many people you've slept with, I really think that's inappropriate because it has nothing to do with anything. One, it's not anybody's business, and it just stems back to women only have value if they are pure and they have not been touched by anybody else.
That's exactly right. And I think one of the questions in my thing too was something along the lines of that, or how many people have you dated? Or I'm like, what's that got to do with absolutely anything?
Correct.
That for me applying for this show, like what does okay, so if you see like a magic number or something, you're going to be like, oh no, or oh yes. Like I don't understand it.
Yeah, and was that information presented to, say, the farmer that you're with? That's what I would wonder. I would wonder, is that then going to be, okay, here's the package, this is the video of the woman, here's the photos, here's her backstory, and here's her number of penises that she's had.
That's exactly right. Oh my God, that's exactly right. And I don't understand it. It's dated, like you said, and it needs to go. I'm like, yeah, it's got absolutely nothing to do with anything. So next.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Next.
Who cares if a woman wants to sleep with the whole football team?
Yeah.
Who cares if she wants, and that's what makes me so angry too, is when women get judged for their sex lives. Yeah. I'm like, so what? So what if she's single and she wants to go out and have sex with absolutely every Tom, Dick and Harry? Go for it, girlfriend. Go for it. But if a guy does it, he's patted on the back going, oh, good on you, mate. And then a woman gets, it's her body, her choice.
Yeah, correct.
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, same with the dude. It should be an even playing field. Dudes can do what they want. Girls can do it. It should be an even playing field. I think Australia has still missed the memo a little bit in regards to that stuff, because I was talking to a couple of my American mates the other day about this topic, and that they're both dudes, and they're like, what are you talking about? I said, I think Australia's still really missed that memo in regards to women and men have the right to do with their bodies what they like, and it does not devalue them by any means.
That's exactly right, because when you're single, you can go do whatever you want. It's only when you're in a relationship that, but if you're single, why can't you?
Correct.
Seriously.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
Correct. Yeah. It's really, really interesting. Like the amount of conversations I have had with my American mates about the patriarchal systems that are still in place, and the culture in Australia around dating, around, all the different relationships, straight, gay, whatever. I think we're still, maybe because we're an island, Karissa. We're still a little bit behind.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't understand. But surely guys are going to have to come up with a better line than, oh, you're a slut. Yeah. Surely. Enough of that bullshit. Seriously.
Enough. So what would you say is in Bathurst, how's the dating scene in Bathurst? Is it a small or large pool of men, or is it like South Australia where there's too many women and not any men?
I can't even begin to describe how shit it is to date in Bathurst. No, seriously, because everyone knows your business. Everyone knows that I was with, Michael and my ex and this and that. Everyone knows who you are. So, and stories get around and this and that. And it's not. So it's not worth it. So hence why I just don't even try.
How many people are in Bathurst, Karissa? How many people?
I think it's like 30,000 or something, upwards of 30,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big country town. It's a city, but country city.
Have you been there your whole life?
No, I'm originally from Tamworth.
Ah, gotcha.
Country music capital.
What made you move to Bathurst?
Uni. That's what made me move to Bathurst, getting into uni. And like I said, and then, you meet someone, you get married and you have children. And here I am, still in Bathurst.
So sell Bathurst, all I know Bathurst for is the car racing and the Deniers and George. That's all I know in Bathurst. Yes. What else is there? Give us a bit of tourism there, Karissa. Sell Bathurst to Australia.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so you can do a hot lap of Mount Panorama like the race car track. Yeah, we've got beautiful ice cream at Annie's Ice Cream that you have to try.
Yep.
We have Makati Park, which is a duck park, which is nice.
Cute.
Yeah, well, I like Bathurst because it is pretty central to everything. Like if you want to go away to Sydney for the weekend, it's only 2 hours away. You can just drive there for the weekend. You can drive to Canberra. I think Canberra's in the other direction for a couple of hours. So it's sort of pretty central in regards to what's around. So it's good like that. I do like it because of that. That's for sure.
Yeah, cool. Didn't know that. I'm not good with geography, so I didn't even know where it was. All I knew it was in New South Wales. That was it.
No, so it is pretty central in regards to that. So, yeah.
That's good. So in closing, Karissa, is there anything you would like to mention to our listeners in regards to your love journey or lessons that you've learned or tidbits on how to get out there?
Just concentrate on really loving yourself first before you enter a relationship. Because I'll admit that, you know, when I was growing up, I was in relationship after relationship, you know, because I was scared of being alone. But I've really, as hard as the past couple of years have been for me, being single and you know, everything in between, it's also been some of the most best times of my life as well, in regards to finding out what I like, what I don't like, myself, on who I am as a person. Just bettering myself and learning about myself and then making yourself whole again before you do enter another relationship, because if you're not, you're just only going to bring the baggage of your other relationship failures into the next one and make the same mistakes as what you did in the last relationship in the next one. Because let's be real, no one's perfect. I've done some horrible things as well. So I'm not blaming it all on the men out there. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like women can be assholes as much as men. So, you know, and seriously, and when you accept the things that you've done wrong, and because you can be a toxic person as well yourself.
Correct.
So I think when you dig deep and it can hurt when you actually sit back and you actually think,
oh shit,
far out, I was toxic in that situation, I was a bitch in that situation, and really taking ownership of what you've done wrong in the past, then you can, I don't know, then you can start to fix these things and just to learn how to control them better, maybe, because I'm a very fiery person. Yeah. I'm a very, very fiery person. And I think there's still every now and then the old Karissa will come out to play and look, we're all human. I'll admit it. But it's few and far between now, where before it used to be all the time, where now you sort of have to analyze and pick and choose your battles, like what's worth your time and what's not worth your time. So I think as I'm getting older, the more you can sort of like, you know, pick and choose with but I'll always have fire in me, and I will never, ever be walked on as a person for as long as I live. But I'm sort of going around about it in a better way now, instead of just, you know, coming at someone you sort of like sit there and realize, well, why did they come at you like that? Do you know what I mean? Like what's not, and maybe, you know, trying to calm down to maybe then for them to like, it's wisdom, I think, as you get older.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I guess it's also life experience you've been through, just as I have been through many a times, I'm sure, where you look back and you go, okay, I could have played that differently. And that's the gift of growing older, is you have firsthand experience on how you could play something different.
I think back a lot of times and I think, Jesus, I could have handled that better, or I shouldn't have done that, but as long as you recognize that, and as long as you're trying to just, constantly better yourself and to get better, like that's all you can do. And try better next time, because then when another situation is happening, you can think, right, I did it the wrong way last time. How can I snap out of this cycle and choose to do it in another way? That's all you can do.
Brilliant. On that lovely note, thank you, madam, for coming on this morning. This has been a delightful chat. Very grateful for your time. It's been very good.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved every second. Thank you.
No worries. Have a lovely day, Karissa. Thanks again, darling.
Thank you. See ya. Bye.
The Catchalorette, with friends near and far, from heartache to catfish and sex toys. The Catchalorette and friends. See you next time, if you dare.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the Planet checking account. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. There's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement, and there's no minimum balance required. The 1% for the Planet checking account, only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.